So in this video, I want to branch out from the literal or one sentence translations that we typically discuss on, or you see on what Qigong is, and explain in depth really what we're able to do, or what naturally transmutes from just working on the energetic body into meditation, and then into some of the deeper levels of spirituality, which Qigong weaves through all of those three disciplines. So let's start off with what it isn't, which is, if you're a beginner or you just come across it and you've seen people doing it in the parks in China or elsewhere, you would rightly believe it's just like a slow movement system for the elderly, because they're just in slow motion in often cases. Sometimes it's Tai Chi, but a lot of the times it is Qigong. And you're seeing these slow movements and you think, oh, that's good for, when I get on and, the ears aren't being so kind on the body and I need to look after the hips and knees. A great movement for the hips and knees, but a lot of the work is actually happening internally. And what we're ultimately trying to do is we're trying to cultivate, especially here in the West, our internal awareness. And it's through that internal awareness, as you go through the deeper levels of cultivating more of it, that these extrasensory perceptions of the energetic body, etc., and the deep spiritual insights will become a lot clearer and present themselves to you. So its literal translation, just to cover that as well, is energy work. It's Chinese of origin. It's at least 3,000 years old, and it's also been dubbed moving meditation. And so the meditation world as well is a little bit older, and spans actually lots of other different isms and traditions: Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, Hinduism. And what you find with a lot of these religions and spiritual traditions is the roots of these all intertwine into one non-dual type of philosophy and spirituality. So let's start to just unpick this. This internal awareness is something that really needs to be developed here in the West. We really don't have culturally, historically, any practices which promote this. We're so externally driven in everything, and that drips down to sort of our mindset and our methodology in sports, and how we went out to acquire land and people, and everything that drips down from it. I mean, if you go back to the Eastern traditions, all of them have these practices, these contemplative and meditative practices for going inside of the internal body. And it's such a rich landscape, often a lot richer than the external one in the material world. So it's almost like, when you look at the oceans now, for ages we were so enamored with the land and what that would bring. And now we're finding even more of a richer landscape beneath the oceans, with different, all the different animals and life that it holds there, and the depths of it, and how gross it is. So gross in a larger sensation, as opposed to anything nasty. So cultivating this internal awareness. I mean, even when, for example, in the gyms, right, when people are working out these days, we just have no concept of any of the senses that go along with it. So why I'm mentioning the gym is when people are, say, doing a row or lifting any weights, and you ask the client, where are you feeling this? A lot of them have just got no proprioceptive awareness of what they're working out, where they're working out, because the mind is so concentrated on the external aspect of what am I gripping, how am I going to pull it, what is the performance aspect, I'm gonna just overtly use strength for this, and they're not really feeling where it's going. And this is the hallmark of bodybuilding. It's developing this muscle mind connection, which, even when you point it out to some clients, the ability to actually sense and feel the muscle moving and activating, due to many different things, like non-use of having that internal awareness and landscape. But also, some of the muscles are so atrophied and, not online, that it's harder to pick them up as well. That being said, one of the first things I do in the workshops is ask people whether they can immediately sense their heartbeat, regardless of the noise and the environment around them. And what you'll find is a lot of people can't sense the heartbeat. They have to try and put their hand on it, or really trying to listen intently. And if there's any noise, they go, they can't. But once that awareness is opened, that pathway, so to speak, is opened, you can sense it no matter what the external noise or anything. We're not using one of the five senses, sight, touch, sound. Just anywhere I can just immediately just sense the rhythms of that electromagnetic field. And it can be trained, of course it can be, and cultivated. And once this internal awareness opens, not just the workings of, something, the larger electromagnetic fields like the heart, but you can notice the energy and the qi field. You can notice the energy in between energy centers like the lao gong and the palms. And you can come in using certain techniques and pick up on those frequencies of energy pretty quickly. You can also enhance them, and this is where the healing aspect of the body comes along. Is what Chinese medicine has spoken about, that they believe all disease and illness is due to stagnation in the energy channels and meridians of the body. So once you can start to learn to sense the qi and that awareness of it, then you can learn to accentuate it and then learn to move it around the body. It's also it's not as subtle as you think. Obviously, to start it may be, but if you're very sensitive to it and with the right training, it really comes in like a freight train. It's not like, is that energy? Can I believe in this thing? Maybe I felt it comes in and it is strong, and you can use it to do some really fun stuff, like lift yourself out of a chair with not much effort, because the weight and the groundingness of it is being made use of. The other thing, it's not a one-trick pony either, in regards to, it's not just one sensation. So for example, when I'm doing 5-element Qigong, in the 5 elements, fire, earth, metal, water, wood, the gestures held around that present the energy very differently. Some of them come in spiraling and vortexing. Some of it is very heavy and grounding, and it's splitting my fingers apart, in which I have to come out of the holds sometimes when it's accumulated to such a level. So it really is so fascinating and profound. And the Chinese, how they stumbled across this and managed to put it into a system is, again, fascinating. And I enjoy a few hours speculating on the matter. So once we're playing with that energetic body and we can sense it, it then, as I mentioned before, is often dubbed moving meditation. We also, where it's not just working on the body, it can work on the mind as well. And today, I can't see anything which is so needed as well, with people being so overwhelmed and overstressed and overworked and overthinking. So having a practice which really helps to simmer down the mind, which meditation is fantastic at, and for those that can't sit in stillness, something like Qigong, which is, I call it a halfway house. When you've got a really busy mind, there's two completely other ends of the spectrum, polar opposites that will work very well. One is intense exercise, the other is sitting in stillness and letting the mind. Both will allow the mind to dissipate and unwanted energy to move out of the system. But if people don't like doing high intensity or the exercise part, and people can't get their heads around just sitting in stillness, then Qigong is a sort of halfway house, the blend of slight movement, slight positioning holds, and working on the energy body, which affects and links mind and body at the same time, is a fab thing to utilize. So with that quietening down of the mind, we're now going to, so it has a mindfulness thing. What I'm trying to say is that, that quietening of the mind is having useful connotations for your busy professional to get more energy during the day when they're overworked and busy, or if you're just overstressed at home and you need a bit of time out. These things recharge the body, recharge your energy, and down the noise. So big tick. Secondly, we're going into the deeper spiritual ends now, is when this mind starts to quieten down, and when we're in specific gestures and specific holds with specific intentions, the deeper layers of the conditioned mind, which houses all, as well, our personal identity, the story of who we believe today, along with our history and our desires and our likes and dislikes, and this everything that we've collected, the contents of consciousness that has spanned our life, that will also start to empty or fall away, not for good, but within the levels of the collapsing down of the mind and the stillness and clarity that emerges from that. And you get to notice that your personal identity is just an illusion, as this veil, this lens that we've been wearing starts to clear. And that true self that has always been present through however old you are, it was the same you that has been cloaked by this other story you've told yourself, but beneath the hood has been there when you were, the day you were born, when you were 5, 15, 25, 35, and all the way up to now. That is unchanged, unhurt, hasn't aged, and that will start to emerge and show through. And that's when these peak experiences come, these bliss states and the complete loss of body and the feeling of the energy field in these deeper levels of meditation and stance holding, etc., and practice of Qigong. And as much as that isn't the end goal, but it's nice to know that you're on the right path, and that these experiences through the practices have been spoken of for the 3,000 years that they've been in operation, because the ancient texts and scriptures have written about them. So it's nice to know that the path is set and your practice is developing accordingly. So that is how rich and deep and profound the practice of Qigong can be. And that is why practitioners like myself have been doing it and teaching it for decades, absolutely adore it and love it, and is why I love teaching others the path to do so. Now, I do that obviously in person, but if this has whetted your appetite and you're new to this and you don't know where to begin, because there are many different hundred of types of Qigong out there, I teach many in a course and a non-dual workshop where we're really teaching you how to work on the energetic body, how to work within the realms of meditation and some of the Jandrong stances, and also how and what we're trying to achieve on the spiritual path to realization, and how we combine all three of those things into a set path and formula. So if you are interested in that, use the link below, which is in the description or the comments, to jump into the free section of the group called the Remembering, where there are different levels you can get to. That is also where you can get in touch with me, or feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. Thank you.